Okay, so my name's David. I'm at the front. I'm waving my hands now on my Rift. How you guys
I'm
doing?
playing VR, so we'll be waving both.
Everyone's waving back. Give me some smileys as well. Hopefully everyone's familiar with AltspaceVR. Okay, so today we're talking about making memories in VR, which is using 360 video and 360 cameras to create virtual reality experiences to relive. Who are we? Let's start there. So can everyone see the screen? And hopefully it will move to the next slide. So who we are.
Yep,
so
fantastic, I can see it.
Can everyone see that? Who we are in our real avatars when we're in China. So that's me, David.
That is not me.
It's not you, it's me, David. So yeah. So my name's David Sobel. I've been creating 360 experiences for over a year, well, about 18 months. I've filmed hundreds of hours now of 360 video and put together about 100 experiences that are available on YouTube, Samsung VR, and all the various platforms. And this over here is my lovely wife, Katie.
Hello.
Waving in the purple with the owl on her jumper.
Yep.
So
yeah, we do all this recording and video editing and whatnot together. So this has been, we're going to tell you about our journey and what we've learned so far.
Oh.
So
I thought this was actually creating that stuff.
yeah, well, it's going to be about learning how to create those things. So if you have any questions, raise your hand and we'll get to them at the end. We basically want to be quite brief with our presentation and then get to Q&A where you can start to ask questions to us and we can kind of share the knowledge of the room. So that's the brilliance of AltSpace, really, is being able to all get together and share what we know. So let's get started. So why do we work with...
Okay, sorry.
Sorry, go ahead, Katie, go on.
Yeah, so I'm just going to tell you really quickly why we're working with 360 at the moment. Basically, the first time both of us used VR, we were completely hooked straight away. Obviously, the games are fantastic, but the thing that really jumped out to us immediately was the educational potential and also the immersive nature of the experiences that we had inside VR. So a really quick example would be the first time I did the People's House experience. Has anyone done that, the tour of the White House? Just give me an emoji if you've done that experience, or a wave would do. Yeah. Okay, excellent. So if you haven't done it, I'll just tell you really quickly. I got out of bed one morning, David handed me the headset and said, go on, have a tour around the White House. So there I was in my pajamas in the middle of the living room, having a walk around the White House, looking at all the different corridors, the different hallways. Fantastic. Then all of a sudden there I was face to face with Obama, looking me dead in the eyes, talking to me. Genuinely for a second, I forgot that I wasn't really in front of Obama and became very embarrassed that I was wearing my pajamas. So this immersive element is what's really kind of been our springboard to create the first thing we did in 360, which was our Spanish language course, Dynamic Spanish. So we wanted to build on this being in 360, in your pajamas, you can be anywhere in the world. And that has subsequently led us to create our travel vlog, or vlog, as we're trying to call it, it's too hard to say, our VR vlog, that we're currently producing. Yeah, if you wouldn't mind changing the slide, Dave. Thank you. So this is really quickly what we're planning on covering in the next few minutes before we get onto the Q&A. So the first things to think about when you're getting started filming. So what do you want to record? Who are your videos for? Which camera is going to be right for you? What's the editing process like? How can you share your videos? And then we'll get onto the Q&A. So the first slide. What are you capturing? So this is the first thing you need to think about when you're starting to plan filming a video. What are the key points you want to cover? You need to kind of really have that clear in your mind beforehand, because it's going to impact what camera you're going to use, the kind of shots you're going to take, the editing process, it's all going to depend on that. And you're creating more than just a video. It's going to be an experience. It sounds cheesy, but it's important to make sure that you get the right feel for the experience. Whether that's going to be a future you or a complete stranger. So a quick example would be when we've filmed a wedding. It was really important beforehand to find out who the key people were in the wedding, so that we could make sure we were capturing all of them. Obviously, the key moments of a wedding are quite obvious. It's normally quite standard, but you need to make sure you're capturing those. Make sure you've got sound, good quality sound for any bits of the event that require the sound. So obviously, the vows were a big part of a wedding. And then you might also want to think about, if the video is going to be for the bride and groom, what won't they have witnessed or experienced on the day? Maybe they were busy taking photos with all the family while something else was happening in a different part of the wedding. It's a good opportunity to let people experience things they may have missed on the day. Another point is to think about the duration of shots. So really quickly, if you're going to be filming a holiday, for example, you don't want to come back from your holiday with endless footage. We tend to stick to about 30 seconds per shot when we're doing the initial filming, so that we've got enough to then edit down from there. And finally, you need to think about weather and other elements that are out of your control. So, weather obviously can't be helped, but if you're going to be filming in a crowded place, it's going to impact things like the equipment you use, the tripod you use, versus whether it's like a selfie stick or a monopole. So they're kind of some of the key elements you need to think about before you start filming, in order to make sure that your experience is going to be as immersive as possible for the viewer. And now I'm going to hand you over to David for the next few minutes.
Hi again. I think we've actually got Liam here, who has a similar...
Oh, have we?
Yeah, I think Liam's there in the middle as a little robot guy.
Hey guys.
So that's
Excellent. Glad
the
you
Liam.
joined us, Liam.
Yeah, the Liam of the famous wedding in VR. So, what did you think of the video, Liam? After we made it for you, I'll give you the floor.
It was really quite unique, I think is the word. I mean, never seen anything like it before. And what Katie was saying about seeing things that you don't necessarily experience on the day was really interesting to see. And as often weddings go, when you've had a few drinks after a while as well, it's quite nice to go back and relive things that you might not have seen. I'm not sure if many people here are married themselves, but you might know on the day it goes by so quickly. You're constantly speaking to new people, and you really it's really useful to be able to go back. And I know people traditionally do that through videos and photos, but it is really another level to be able to sort of immerse yourself in it in VR. I think the standout moment for me was when there was a conga line happening on the dance floor, and the 360 camera was right in the center of it, and it was just incredible watching people dance past, enjoying themselves, having a lovely time. So yeah, it was really quite special.
Awesome, thanks very much.
We're very glad to have been able to make that for you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Liam. Yeah, so that was awesome, making that video. And the conga line, I was very happy with that shot. It was really cool having everyone go past it. And you're right about drunkenness. Sorry, yeah. One thing to look out for were some of your drunken guests knocking into the cameras at certain points. But it was all fun and games. It didn't get broken, so it was all good. But yeah, definitely something to consider, anyone who is filming weddings on the dance floor, to have a high quality tripod that isn't easily kicked over by someone who's had a few too many beers.
Excellent.
Okay, so next slide. So, oh yeah, before we continue, the reason the slides aren't the best looking is because they actually look different on different headsets. So what you're seeing may not be what I'm seeing. I'm on a Rift, Katie's on a Go, and they look very different to one another. So
really different.
So I don't know what other. I assume most people are using one of those two systems. But if you've got an HTC Vive, who knows what it looks like? So yeah, hopefully you can read everything and you can see it. So really, your audience. So who are you making this for? So for the wedding, obviously, we were very much making it for Flick and Liam, and other family members that didn't get to see or didn't get to attend the wedding because of age, or they live very far away. And so yeah, it's very important to consider who the video is for and really what you're trying to make them feel during the process. So tone is very important. So for the wedding, for example, I was very aware that, during a wedding, it's a happy event. So it's all about kind of getting those really happy and kind of high energy moments on the dance floor and when people are celebrating, as well as those kind of softer, cuter, lovey-dovey moments that, of course, part of a wedding you've got to include. So, yeah, so it's all about kind of getting the right tone and really thinking about the direction of the piece that you're filming. So if you're going to film someone's wedding, or you want someone to film your wedding, it's important to get across that you want to have a good time. The video wants to be fun, there wants to be music so you can dance to it later and really kind of relive and re-immerse yourself in the feelings you had on that night. Yeah, so I guess another important thing to consider as well is, do you want people sitting or standing? I mean, a lot of our experiences, we like people to be standing, but sitting's okay. Generally, I keep the tripod at standing height for most of the stuff we film. I feel like it's a comfortable height to be at, and although a lot of people watch stuff sitting down, and myself included, I think standing, definitely at standing height is good to do. And one of the things we did with dynamic Spanish was, you were sitting down having a lesson, but when we wanted to inject a bit of enthusiasm into the student, we got them to stand up to kind of reliven their energy and give them kind of, the motivation to start speaking Spanish. So that's one thing you can actually utilize, is ask people to stand up for this part, for the dancing at a wedding, for example. Like, everybody stand up for the bride and groom. It's a great opportunity to just kind of change people's, whether they're sitting or standing. We've got a ghost flying about there. Hopefully you're right. Oh yeah, and this little guy, this guy here, the model of Ed, is going to be used in a production that we're doing in the summer. This is kind of beta 1. It's going to look a lot better than this. It's a stuffed, what do you call these? They're like a
morph suit.
A morph suit, yeah. It's a stuffed morph suit there that we've then stuck the tripod inside the morph suit to kind of position it. So when you're watching it from a headset, what the camera's recording there, that's the Insta360 One X. What it's recording is, it looks like you have a body, effectively. Obviously, this is just a morph suit, and it doesn't look too great here, but we're going to decorate it and make it look very cool. So that's one thing you can do. It's very cheap, a morph suit. If any of you are doing any 360 productions, I'd like to hear at the end, but we'll carry on now to the next slide. So, which camera? So we've got through a few cameras. I mean, this one is the broken one that broke when wind blew over, and I'm kind of showing you guys this to emphasize that these things can happen if you're filming outside. It was a pretty horrible moment when the wind caught the tripod.
It was devastating.
Because we were filming away and we had planned to film this whole festival, and then the tripod blew over, and obviously the camera is no longer usable. But we did manage to film some stuff on a different camera that we bought in a store. Anyway, yeah, that was an upsetting day. But really, the big question with cameras is, what's your budget? Because like everything, if you've got an unlimited budget, you can go very high. You can get the kind of Insta360 Pro 2, which is about the $5,000 range, which is obviously a relatively high-end camera. And then you've got kind of the ones we use for a lot of our experiences, which is the Insta360 One X. That does 360 video, and it costs about, I think it's about £350, and about the same in dollars, $350, $400. So a bit more of a mid-range kind of camera. There's cheaper cameras out there that you can use for certain things, for photos. You can get a camera for about $100, $150. So yeah, the kind of question with cameras becomes, do you want 3D stereo? So that means 360 in 3D. So stereo refers to it taking two images side by side and creating a 3D nature to it. I think someone's unmuted. If you wouldn't mind just checking you're muted, that would be fantastic. So yeah, we've got 3D stereo and then 2D mono. So a lot of our stuff is filmed in this 2D, which is, not 3D, but it really does still, I think, capture it captures scenes very well and can give you the realism perhaps you're looking for, although it's not 3D. And kind of a new wave of things that have come out in the last 9 months is this 3D 180. So Insta360 have the 1S camera, sorry, the Evo camera. Apologies for that. Yeah, and that does 3D 180 and also 360 mono. So that's super for that kind of thing. Yeah. So kind of depends what you're after. The 3D 180 is very different. I find it less immersive personally because you don't get the full 360. So if you look too much, you see the sides, and I find that takes me out of the experience. But that's perhaps personal preference. Anyone who's thinking about buying a camera, there's one thing to really consider here. This is very important. Your PC or the Mac, the specifications you're using, it's very CPU and GPU intensive to do any kind of editing with 360. Obviously, a lot of filming is done in at least 4K. At 4K, I would say minimum is what you kind of want. And as soon as you start going into 6K, 8K, it really is. So I can hear an echo on the line if someone wouldn't mind muting that. So yeah, you once you start handling these really high resolution images, it really starts eating up your CPU and GPU. So definitely, make sure you've got high-end PC or your PC can do what you want to do. Otherwise, you might just need to stick to 4K kind of mono stuff. Very important, this when recording stuff as well, is something that's very important in film. If anyone is a filmographer or a videographer, you'll know about audio is really, I would say, as important, if not more important than image quality. Because when it comes to dodgy audio, we're a lot less forgiving if we can hear crackling and if we can hear, just wind noise. These types of things are really not pleasant to hear, especially when you're in a 360 environment, I find, with earphones in often or headphones on. So investing in a high quality kind of separate mic, like a Zoom H2N, for example, that's the one we use, and it's very useful for filming things like fireworks and music. So we filmed a few gigs. It's very cool for filming gigs, and it does surround sound as well on the Zoom H2N. That's one benefit of it. So it's about, I think it was about £200 or £150, so probably about the same in dollars. So they're not cheap, these mics, but they're not unaffordable. So yeah, definitely worth doing. And as for additional accessories, tripods, I would recommend different heights. So when I look for a tripod, I look for ones for lights. So if you've got a tripod for holding lights in a kind of studio environment, they're often very suitable for holding 360 cameras because they're not particularly heavy. A lot of the kind of $300, $400 cameras, they're quite light. So you can use just a camera that's usually holding a light box. It can be used to hold the camera. And otherwise, we've got a more rugged one that we use, which is a mic stand. So maybe looking for a camera stand might not be a camera tripod, probably isn't the best idea because you don't need the kind of rotation and you don't need that like ball hinge that a lot of them have for the DSLRs. So yeah, tripod, audio, and make sure you got a good computer. When it comes to editing, so kind of my first advice with editing is get your settings right when you're recording. So you have to choose these very carefully. So if you want to, so it really depends on your PC. If I was recording a lot using in-camera stitching here rather than desktop stitching, so that meant the camera actually stitched it while it was filming, which then it really reduces a lot of the kind of post-production work once you filmed, as well as like you can immediately kind of view the files and it's much easier. So the E360 did that very well, but the Insta360 1X that I use now doesn't do the in-camera stitching. So it's a bit of a kind of downgrade, so to speak, but I would say the camera in general is better, but you have to do this desktop stitching afterwards. So I record in 6K mono because that's what the highest quality the 1X can do. And then I use desktop stitching, so I kind of cut the files to what I want, so normally 25 to 30 seconds maximum, and then export into 4K, which is how I put a lot of my experiences together. I don't use 6K, I kind of only work in 4K, and I find the image quality is good enough at the moment with the headsets as they are. I'm sure that will change, obviously, in the next couple of years as the headsets kind of have you know, a lot higher resolution and better lenses. So I use Adobe Premiere to do a lot of the stitching. They have a lot of 360 VR kind of plugins available. GoPro have the Color plugins as well. So if you use these plugins, you can very easily manipulate 360 video. So you can turn, you can rotate the sphere so that changes your initial viewpoint of what you're looking at. And you can then use kind of these, it's called kind of plane to sphere. So that kind of converts normal photos and normal videos you've taken on a different camera into something where it looks very good in a 360 environment. So that means you can start putting your own photos in. So we found this with the wedding that we filmed, Liam's wedding, that we put a lot of the photographer's photos in there to kind of cover transition periods. So if we wanted to move from, you know, preparing the event and then we could show the bride getting ready. Although I didn't film it in 360, I used the photos the photographer took to kind of show that aspect of the wedding, and it adds a whole different element to the process. So yeah, using photos that you've taken during events is a great way of adding changing transitions and showing things that you may not have come out too clearly on 360. And what's quite powerful is actually the resolution of a high quality kind of photo in 360 just looks phenomenal. It looks like really high end. Generally when exporting, as I said, I export in 4K. That's mainly due to my computer kind of specifications at the moment. I'm planning on an upgrade. I can just about manage 6, but it struggles a bit. So I generally do 4K and kind of run it about 20 megabits as the frame rate. But generally, once you upload to YouTube or Samsung VR, one of these platforms, they kind of encode it differently anyway. So don't worry too much about that. And I guess the main point I've got here, as with the previous slide on cameras, is YouTube has a lot of fantastic reviewers. I'm going to name drop a few people here, and all this information is going to be available afterwards as well if you sign up for the notes. So there's Creator Up, who's, in my opinion, really one of the best guys for reviewing cameras and reviewing 360 equipment. And he shows a lot of workflow on Adobe Premiere, and he shows how to do the editing, how to do a lot of the stuff I've spoken about here step by step, and they're brilliant tutorials. You know, you can watch them multiple times, and he's kind of the leading edge. And also Remarcus, his channel on YouTube, he not only reviews all the brilliant Go games that all come out, and he does a weekly kind of stuff of that, which is great to watch if you've got a Go, but also he kind of reviews cameras and various other things as well. So I think he might be here today. I'm not sure. I haven't noticed him, but he said he might come. So yeah, brilliant. So here we are. Let's go to the next slide. So sharing is caring. We've got a short video here. This is me showing my uncle his grandson's bar mitzvah. This is the first time he'd ever used virtual reality, and so he was quite excited. And I've got his granddaughter running around in the background as well, if you're wondering who that is.
You're looking all around, Melvin.
Fantastic. This is funny. I'm just filming it.
Hopefully that's finished for everyone. I think it probably started at different times, but it should probably be done for everyone now. So yeah, the joy of introducing people to 360 video is something that obviously you guys all use VR, having where we are. So it's fantastic. I'm sure you've introduced people as well, but to really take my uncle back to his grandson's bar mitzvah was phenomenal. It was fantastic. He absolutely loved it. And as well as that, they all said it was better than the normal video that they took, and they had a real professional setup there, and they all preferred the 360 stuff. I see there's a lot of Game of Thrones stuff come up on our YouTube auto playlist there. Of course, it is Game of Thrones night, isn't it? Everyone must be excited. I think a big,
goodness, so
yeah, I know,
excited.
the finale. Yeah, yeah, won't get into Game of Thrones. So what platforms? So there's kind of most headsets have YouTube now, which is great, but I do find the resolution on YouTube slightly low when watching 360 stuff. And personally, I prefer using VeeR, which is a Chinese-based platform. So I don't know too much about data security and privacy on that. So if you perhaps want something to be kept private, I don't know exactly how secure. You know, it's all going to China, that stuff, but who knows? But VeeR is very good for 360 material, and you can create some amazing actual experiences itself within VeeR, and you can use kind of buttons and kind of lead people along an experience just using the software built into VeeR. That's spelled VeeR. Again, we'll send out all these links if you sign up. And really a key, if you're looking for views, if you're doing this, so a lot of what we're doing these travel vlogs, as we mentioned, and we're trying to kind of build an audience of people that want to see our like lifestyle of we move, we travel a lot, and we kind of film a lot of places, and we've got like a podcast style commentary over the top. And yeah, the key is really to try and get featured. So obviously there's certain things you can do on different platforms to kind of, you know, help that out. So yeah, so let's move on to the next one. So we're at the Q&A. The final ask is, if anyone does leave, I hope you do follow us on YouTube. We're on Morning Calm 360. But as we said, we really wanted to use this kind of space as not just us lecturing or giving a presentation, but we felt we kind of needed to give some kind of background to hopefully get you guys thinking about questions. So if you've got a question, if you click on the Ask a Question hand, there's a lot already there. So I'm going to pick people out and then bring them along. So if you haven't got a question, please unselect now so I don't select people without questions. Otherwise, I'll start at the top and hopefully we can work our way down. So Chewbacca, not Chewbacca. So is that Rebecca? Is that you're over? Oh, you've got an owl on your shirt as well there. If you want to come to the front, and I'll put you on air if you unmute.
Yeah, I'm unmuted. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can everyone hear?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Yeah. Hi.
Yeah. Show of hands. Yeah.
I have a. Thank you. Hi. I have a Views 360 3D camera,
Okay.
and I am just fiddling. I'm in the video industry, so I'm fiddling with the resolution on it
Sure.
because it doesn't seem to get that crisp color. Now, you mentioned that YouTube is different from VeeR. I have done both, but is there a trick to getting a higher resolution when you're outputting it?
I had the views very briefly. I didn't use it too much. I had an issue. Well, anyway, there was an issue with the camera, but I think they're investing a good amount of money into it, and they're a good company. But a trick, I would say, record in as high resolution as possible. So that's 6K. Lighting's very important, of course. As with all filming, lighting is key. If you're filming indoors, it can be difficult. There are certain lighting rigs you can get specifically for 360 that kind of fit under the camera, but they're kind of quite expensive rigs at the moment, and they're like this big, and they go under normally the Pro 2 or something like that. But yeah, lighting's important. 6K recording, and then color correction in Premiere or whatever kind of software you're using is important. The views, I did find, washed out a lot of colors. Obviously, getting the exposure right as well. I did think.
Yeah, I pumped the saturation up on it huge, and then it kind of helps with that. But far away objects are more black and white than close up.
That was
objects.
one issue I did find with the Views XR. Actually, I found the colors were a little washed out compared to the Yi 360 I had, and also the Insta360 One X. But it's a good camera, and the 180 feature, the 3D 180 feature, is very good on it. And yeah, they've got their different strengths, I guess. So lighting's key. unfortunately, I can't give you too much more advice than that. But lighting and color correction, obviously, try and capture as much as possible. So try not to be too overexposed in certain areas. So check your exposure as well.
Is there a difference between, because this is the 360 3D, it's not the Views XR.
Oh, so you're using the apologies, the Views 360 3D.
Yeah.
I'm not too
Yeah.
I'm not too familiar with that
my
camera.
Yeah, my question is would you get a better resolution if you just used it as a 180 or took off the 3D, do you think, or?
I mean, I would guess experiment. I haven't heard great things about that camera, if I'm being totally honest, but I've not properly researched it. I'm sure they're always updating the software on these things, so they can improve it, but a lot of it is trial and error and kind of testing out, lighting and trying to get what you're after. If it's a dark day, it's difficult to get the colors at the best of times.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you very much.
No worries. I hope I answered your question. Let's go to...
Thank you for your question.
Yeah, thank you very much. Chewbacca, I'll take you off. We've got someone called Petty. Hopefully you won't be too petty and be upset with our presentation today. I don't know where Petty is. If they want to come forward to the front, I'll give them the on air if they have a question. Hello, Petty. How you doing?
I didn't actually have a question, but I guess I'll have a question for you. Can you hear me okay?
Let me...
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right. Have you used the, there's a little Samsung, I guess it's the Samsung 360 that's on the lower end.
The Samsung Gear, yeah.
The cameras. Samsung Gear, that's it.
I've had a quick play around with a friend, yeah, and I've looked at a lot of the images on the internet because while kind of deciding what cameras to buy, I was looking at everything. There's kind of a couple of models. The later model is obviously, or the most recent model is obviously a lot better and can record in 4K. I would say if anyone's thinking of buying a camera, I think 4K minimum resolution. I know that's obviously quite high generally if you're just used to watching videos on YouTube at 1080, but once the 4K is stretched all the way around your head, it really can be very low resolution if it's less than 4K, I find. And I think the older version of the Samsung Gear was not 4K, so I wouldn't recommend that. However,
there's a newer one that's not too expensive.
Yeah, and it's pretty good. It does the job for kind of trying stuff out. And, if you haven't got the budget, I would say go with it and experiment. It all depends what you want to do and what you want to film. I mean, what were you thinking of filming?
Oh, just outdoors, sports, scenes, and nature, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think it'll be better with the camera rather than the video, but it will do a good job. But I would say at the moment with the cameras generally, unless you're going high end, don't kind of expect it to be crystal clear. We all kind of are used to this lower resolution in VR, and at the moment the cameras haven't quite got that crystal clear quality. I think in a few years they'll be there, but at the moment it's actually very difficult, as I said, to process the higher end images. So even if you get the camera, it's then about upgrading your PC as well. Suddenly a $5,000 camera becomes a $3,000, $4,000 PC you need on top of that. So it becomes very expensive very quickly. Yeah. So with the Gear, is that all right?
Oh, very good. Thank you very much.
No worries. I'll shake your hand if you want. You're very close. There you go. Oh, you're running away. There you go. Okay. Next question. Let's have a look. Audience questions. Who have we got? Corey. If you want to come to the front, Corey.
Hey, Corey.
Here's Corey.
Where's Corey?
Oh, is it one of these robots? No. God, there's so many. Oh, if Corey's not there, we'll go for someone else. Okay. Oh, Corey's there with the blue. I can see you, Corey. Do you want to unmute?
Oh, sorry, I must have pressed the button by mistake.
Oh, you don't want to ask a question?
Okay. Actually, I will ask you a question. We've got a number of Insta360 cameras, including a Pro model. Are you doing 3D 360 stereoscopic, and how are you finding the stitching? Because, obviously if you get too close to the camera, if you're recording events, it becomes a bit of an issue.
Yeah. most of the filming I'm doing is using only mono, not stereo, and I'm not overly experienced in stitching stereo footage. There is a program, Mystica, that is used to stitch 3D stuff together. It's very expensive. If you're running kind of a company, it's about, I believe, $80 a month, this software. So it's obviously quite high end. For a business, it's a bit more affordable. But yeah, that kind of makes stitching a lot easier. And as I mentioned before, Creator Up has amazing tutorials on how to stitch kind of stereo footage together, specifically with the Insta360 Pro, as well as other stereo cameras. So Creator Up, he's kind of based in the US, but I believe he's from China. But yeah, anyway, he creates fantastic videos that really do step-by-step tutorials. So I would highly recommend watching his stuff to learn how to stitch. But yeah, getting close and personal is an issue. We're filming this. You saw Ed earlier, the mannequin we set up. We're filming in the morph suit. Yeah, we're filming that in stereo, so we're gonna have to deal with those issues as they kind of come in. I hope that answered the question, Corey. Is that okay? Do you have anything else?
Yeah, no, thanks very much.
No worries.
Thank you.
Next, we've got Liam, our good friend Liam. I'll give you the. You're on air. Is Liam still here?
Hi, Liam. How's it going?
Hey guys, I'm over here.
Oh, he's over there. He's at the back. Come to the front. Oh, there we go. Teleport.
Hello.
How you doing?
Not so bad yourself?
Excellent. Yeah.
Pretty good, thanks.
Good. So yeah, I had a question because I've got the 360, the Samsung 360. I bought it for second hand off eBay just to sort of have a play around with. I've been using it to. I'm about to buy a house. So I've been going around the rooms and taking 360 stills. But I think stitching definitely is an issue. My question is, would you have any tips for like taking still photos rather than video? I mean, is there anything that you can sort of give me some tips on that?
Yeah, of course. So I've seen some of the photos you took because Katie showed me. I think your wife was sharing them in a WhatsApp group. But yeah, first of all, I was actually very impressed with the quality. Just to link that to the earlier question we had, the quality of the photos was very high, I thought. I noticed you were using a monopole, so there's kind of different levels of kind of, stabilization, I guess. So using a monopole is great if you're in a crowd and it's very busy. I would say for something like 360 photography, I would definitely invest in a tripod. So we invested in a tripod. It was about 45 euros, so about £40 for you, Liam. So yeah, what's that, about $50? So yeah, they're not overly expensive. This was for a mic. I'll link to it, as I said, in the notes if you guys sign up. But yeah, that will really improve the kind of quality. But again, lighting, very important, and looking at the stitch line as well. So if you're taking a photo, don't put with the gear, obviously it has two lenses, don't put kind of the edge of the lenses in a terrible spot where it's cutting across something with a very kind of obvious.
I'm notorious for standing on the split line.
Katie loves to stand on the split line whenever we're filming. It's her go-to kind of position. I'm like, no, get off the split line. Yeah. No, but it's, it's always a learning. But yeah, tripod, lighting, and also the exposure as well. Yeah, and of course, ask for permission if you're taking photos of someone else's house, Liam.
Yeah. Well, that's something we ran into. We were looking at a house yesterday, and the agent was like, "No, sorry, you can't do that."
They wouldn't let you take. They wouldn't let you take
no
360.
Whatsoever, 360 or normal.
Oh, fair enough.
That was just a strange agent, really.
Yeah, don't buy that house then. That's a bad sign.
No. No.
Thanks for your question.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for your question.
No worries. Okay, who else have we got? Have we got any more questions? We've got Blurt here. If Blurt wants to come forward.
Hi.
Hello.
See if I can figure out how to come down.
Oh, hi there, Blurt, with a nice pink hat.
Welcome. Hi. First of all, thanks for this. This is great, and you guys do really cool things, so thank you. Speaking of bar mitzvahs, yesterday I was filming my friend's son's, a little bit of her bar mitzvah, his bar mitzvah.
Mazel tov.
And my question is, thank you. My question is, how do I give this footage to them. So it's on the Insta360 Evo. I have a few of the 3D 180 shots, and then I filmed like the Hora and the chairlifting in 360. And so I could show it to them in my Go headset, which I did this morning, and I wish I had recorded it like you did with the grandfather. So, or was your uncle?
It was my uncle, but the grandfather of the bar mitzvah boy.
This huge. Okay, yes. And she had just this huge grin on her face. Like, I didn't even realize all those people were up there, and just being able to see it that way was really neat. So that is my question to you. Like, is there an app they can put on their iPhone? They do have one of the headsets where you can put a phone in.
Yeah, there are apps. So VeeR, the platform I mentioned earlier, and YouTube, I believe they both have VR functions for iPhones. So they can use that. I would say the phone headsets aren't the best, as we all know if we've used one for video or for anything. And I don't know if it was a big bar mitzvah, it's maybe worth the bar mitzvah boy investing in a Go or a Quest to watch it in the future if he's got a PS4.
Well, I wanted to. That was.
Yeah, go on.
He does. That was going to be my. I wanted to get them a Quest as the gift, but they thought that his sister would use it more than he would, and it would start a fight. So I didn't get them the Quest, which I really wanted to. But though, could I upload it to VeeR or YouTube just on a private channel, and then they would view it from that?
YouTube.
Because I wouldn't
Obviously,
want
you do unlisted. Yeah, you use YouTube unlisted. I generally just off topic use Vimeo kind of Pro, but that's obviously a paid for service to host mine when I gave the video to Liam, for example, for his wedding. Yeah, alternatively, I don't know how close you live to them, but when they do get a Quest or a Go, you can obviously just give them the file. Would be one way of doing it. But with VeeR, it can be, I believe it can be unlisted, and no one else can see it in theory. So maybe that's an option, but I think YouTube's probably the best option for that, and then sending the link. That's what I would say.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
No worries.
Thanks for your question.
Yeah, brilliant question. So that reminded me of a question I wanted to ask everyone here. Has anyone seen any of our videos? So if you've seen, give us a hand or a smiley face or something, or if anyone's watched any of our videos. If not, what are you doing here? Go watch our videos. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, excellent. A few people.
A few people have seen, yeah. So, yeah, we are creating weekly videos. That's one thing we're kind of focusing on, is making sure we create weekly videos and releasing them for free for everyone to enjoy. We're kind of doing that to get our skills a lot better and to kind of improve what we're doing and learn a lot. And we're kind of doing, I mentioned some of the projects we've got. We've got a Spanish starter pack. So anyone that doesn't know any Spanish and wants to start learning Spanish in VR, we've got a pack available if you are on our website, morningcalmproductions.com. It's called Dynamic Spanish. It's just it's free. It's completely free. We're not selling anything here, honestly. The only thing we ask is YouTube subscribers, because in terms of monetization of views, that's the only platform for VR stuff that allows monetization. And we have basically no followers. We have less than 100. We've got about 6,000 on the other platforms, but on YouTube we're really struggling, and that kind of means we can't make any money from what we're doing, but that's fine. We like what we're doing, and we've both got
we're not in it for the cash.
We're not who gets in VR for the cash. We're doing it because personally the immersion is amazing and we love it. So yeah, please, what our one ask is follow us on YouTube. Would be fantastic when you come out of VR.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to see if we have any more questions. We've still got we've got
one
sorry.
thing I would
Go on, Katie.
So one thing I would just say, we're not sure whether this link for the notes is still going to be available or easy for you to find after the event's finished. So if you're having trouble finding it and you want to let us know to send you the notes, you can find us on Facebook. Send us a message or something, and we'll comment on a YouTube video, something like that, and we'll get the notes over to you.
Thanks for reminding me to say that. Yeah, just comment on a YouTube video, and then we'll happily do that. It's easy to do. Yeah, we've got a question. I think Tim Mitch, is it? I don't. Does Tim want to come forward? Who's Tim? Oh, Oh, nice.
Thank you.
Hello, Tim.
Snazzy jacket you've got there, Tim.
Very well dressed.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, it's easy when you're in VR. You can hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Yeah, actually, this kind of goes back to the previous question. Is it possible to share these videos using the Google Cardboard app?
Yep,
I mean,
Google.
if you just wanted to keep a video private, between friends?
Yeah, I didn't mention that. You can use the Google Cardboard. I would still say the best method is obviously you've got to upload it somewhere. Uploading it to YouTube as an unlisted video, and then sharing the link with the person who obviously you want to share it with, and then or alternatively, kind of send them the file. So you use WeTransfer. That's a free kind of file transferring service, WeTransfer.com, and then you can kind of send the file to them. They can download it, put it on their phone, whatever, and then watch it. That's an alternative way of doing it. If you really don't want to, risk no one watching it, you can kind of zip it with a password and stuff. Depends how private you're getting with your things. But yeah, you can use it. I wouldn't recommend the mobile headsets. They're not the best quality, as you know, but obviously they are the kind of cheap and quick way if someone's never used VR to show someone something. So yeah, enjoy.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
No worries.
Excellent, thank you.
We got some more questions. We've got Joey.
Wonderful.
Joey wants to step forward. Who's Joey? I love trying to figure out who I think Joey will be by looking at what people are wearing. Oh. Hello, Joey. Oh, nice hat as well. Red and white.
Hello, hi. First, a comment about the whole YouTube thing is that if you upload it to YouTube, if I'm not mistaken, you can watch it without having to use the VR mode. In other words, it'll and in fact, you can use your finger to sort of
That's true,
see
yeah.
the whole 360. So you don't have to always, use the goggles to watch anything that's been uploaded, like a VR thing that's been uploaded to YouTube.
That's very good point, Joey. And you've also got the magic window option, where you hold your camera up like that, and then you can kind of look like you're looking for a magic window into a different world, which is kind of cool. It's better on iPads. The bigger the window, the better, right? Anyway, Joey, what's your question?
Yeah. It's more in terms of I'm a bit new to this, and like one of my reasons for getting into this a bit is to try to get some content for people who may be difficult for them to get out and see, maybe travel the world, for example, elderly people. So the question is whether you have experience with do elderly people take to putting on goggles, or do they usually sorry, I can't hear you.
I wasn't saying anything. I wasn't saying anything,
No,
Joe.
we were listening.
Well, I was listening to your question, sorry. No, go ahead.
Okay. Oh, okay. No, that's okay. No, because earlier on, I couldn't hear, like you were clearly talking, I couldn't hear you, so I had to sort of leave the discussion and come back, and then I heard you. But so I thought maybe it happened again. So yeah, I was curious whether you've had maybe someone else here has experience, like just getting some elderly people to try the goggles, and whether they take to it easily, or they actually, don't.
Great question.
Well, Uncle Melvin, how old's he now?
He's 84. Yeah, when I showed him that, he was 84. Old people actually love it, and what's great about old people is if you're obviously the resolution in VR is a little bit lower than reality, but I think for old people it kind of matches their reality a bit more, and so it's kind of and a lot of our followers, a lot of the comments we've got on Facebook have been from I don't want to say old people, that sounds harsh.
I'm 77.
Yeah, I really, exactly. I was going to say a lot of people of retirement age, let's put it that way. So I'm 31, just to give you some context. So people over 60, I really believe they're actually a big market for VR, because you're right, the restricted movement, the kind of it's doubtful they're going to be climbing Machu Picchu or Everest to get to the top, as I might hope to. Not Everest, it's too hard, but we've had a lot of comments from people, and we've got one fan who's disabled, and I know he uses it a lot to kind of get out and about. So yeah, they find the Go is obviously kind of the easiest to use technology wise, because they can be complicated to use. The Go is obviously aimed at that kind of plug and play, like anyone can use it, although I would still say it's sometimes complicated. So showing someone using like a mirror mode, or like you said, using the magic window for older people. I've shown some olders, let's say, just the magic window, and they love that, just kind of looking around. But yeah, I have great reception from older people, I would say, actually. Yeah.
What experiences does anyone else have with this subject?
We have a 77-year-old in the room. I think we should consult
yes.
that experience. Who's that?
Yes.
Mr. Pete, is that?
Hello.
With the
Yes.
You've got the grey hair on your avatar. I love it. Come to the front, Mr. Pete.
Yeah,
we'd love to hear your experience with VR.
Well, one thing is I'm fascinated with 3D and have been ever since a kid. I actually have some 3D pictures I made when I was just a teenager. And, had no real way of showing them here in AltspaceVR. I do in V time in the boardroom on the big screen. And I'm heavy into the 360 and 3D pictures. And I explain to people how anyone can take a 3D picture with their cell phone and be able to view it in virtual reality. But I'm 77 years old, and I enjoy sitting in my easy chair. I'm not one to get up and run around. I'm not real excited about the Quest, but we'll see. And I love promoting virtual reality. And yes, to be able to go anywhere in the world, oh wow, to go to Israel and through Wanderer is just amazing. So I really appreciate everything you're doing. I thank you very much for what you're doing. I appreciate letting me speak.
Oh, no worries. That was wonderful.
For
yeah.
your information, yeah.
That was amazing. Yeah, that was fantastic. And Wonder as well is a fantastic app for anyone, for older people as well. I hate the term older people. I want to use a different term. What should I use? Retirement age. Let's just stick with it. The wise ones. The wise ones. Yeah, the wise ones. So the wise ones.
Not always.
Okay, that's true.
So yeah, Wonder VR is a great app. It's basically if you've got a Rift, it's like Google Earth VR, but it's kind of very well suited for the Oculus Go specifically. So if you've got a Go and you want to use Google Maps, Google Earth, then that's fantastic. All right, we've only got a few minutes, but we've still got some questions, I think. Joey, or did we just do Joey? I forgot where we were.
You did me over.
Oh, I did. Sorry, Joey. Yeah, all right. We've got Mark here and then Jerome. So Mark first. Oh, hello, Mark.
Hello, Mark.
Oh, I had to unmute myself. I'm sorry. I try to be as quick as possible. My question was about a type of camera I've come across. I wanted to know if you're familiar with it. Are you familiar with a company that makes these GPS called Garmin?
Garmin. Yeah, I'm familiar with Garmin. Yeah,
G-A-R-M-I.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they have come out with a 360 camera, and I think it's fairly new, and it has built-in stitching from what I read about it. It's got 4 microphones built into it. It's waterproof. Let's see, what else? Oh, yeah, it's voice command, which I thought was interesting. It's kind of a high price for me. It's 800 U.S. American dollars, but I've been looking into that. I was wondering if you have any familiarity with that camera.
Honestly, I don't, and I hope you don't work for them, Mark. You're trying to advertise their product here. No, I'm only kidding.
I don't.
No, I don't have any familiarity with that. My advice, Mark, honestly, I would go on. When I'm looking at cameras, I go on YouTube and I search the camera, and I spend the time kind of looking. A lot of these things come down to budget, and is that the best camera for $800? Yeah. And I don't want to, I'm not going to give you advice on this camera because frankly, I don't know. So I don't want to say yes or no, but have a look on YouTube. Creator Up, as I mentioned, and Remarcus reviews cameras. I'm not sure he's reviewed that one though. And 360 Guy as well is another camera reviewer. Yeah, so thanks for the question. Who's that?
Okay, thank
Who's
you.
recommending a camera? Mr. Pete, okay.
I have the Insta 360
I have that
and
as
the
well.
new Insta Evo, EVO. You go to YouTube, type in Insta, INSTA, Evo, EVO. It is a 360 and 3D camera. It's $412. It is absolutely amazing beyond, I could not describe to you what that camera can do. It's just amazing. And so
thank you very much.
Fantastic.
Insta Evo.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have the
Thank you
One
for
X.
the tip.
Yeah, I have the One X as I mentioned, and yeah, it's definitely a great camera. The Evo does the 3D 180 as well, so that's a great recommendation. Insta 360 are definitely kind of one of the leading brands in 360 cinema at the moment in video and photo. So they've got kind of these mid-range cameras, and then they've got their very high end as well, the Pro series. So I think we had another question from Jerome, but he's left the room now, so that's a shame. And it is 9 p.m. We're only going to run this for an hour, but if anyone else has any questions, if you want to come to the front and we can deal with them. If not, I guess we'll say our closing remark. Well, what we'll do is we'll play the last video here. So yeah, that's 360 footage that we turned into normal footage. That's just a normal video. Then that's some of the effects you can use using the plugins on Premiere that I mentioned, these GoPro Color plugins. And also you can use that on the app. That's your, which one?
That's my video with the puppet there.
With the
a puppet skit. Gramps right there.
Oh, I'm not sure.
Why that's on there.
I'm not sure I can see that one, so it might be different for your channel.
Oh, I'm seeing.
That we've all got different videos we're seeing. But no worries. Thank you for joining us. I hope you learned something.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Yeah, we had a great time. I'd love to see some like love hearts or claps, whatever you'd like to give us, just to say thank you. And as I said, please follow us on YouTube if you can. That's all we ask for. And if you want some notes as well.
Can you put those links up there real quick?
Real quick, I don't know about that, but I'll try. It's not.
It's a bit tricky to go.
360 was it?
Yeah, Morning Calm 360 on
on
YouTube.
YouTube.
Yeah, and
Okay.
let me just see. I think that should do it. There you go.
Haha, there we go.
I have to type the address in manually. Though.
So yeah, thank you for coming. Get in touch via, I don't know, YouTube. Well, anyway, you can find us everywhere. If you want the notes or if you want to ask any more questions outside of this.
I'm heading there right now.
Brilliant. Thank you so much.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Hopefully it was useful. Enjoy filming 360. Be immersed. Be immersed.
Yeah, it's lovely to meet you all.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Cheers.
Have a great night.
You too.